INFJs are a paradox in motion. Soft-spoken yet unshakably strong. Kind yet capable of terrifying precision when provoked. To the casual observer, they appear harmless, empathetic, gentle, patient, and endlessly forgiving. But beneath that calm, reflective surface lies a depth of intensity that few can comprehend. This is the essence of the INFJ duality, the coexistence of deep kindness and latent danger, of love and wrath, of empathy and discernment. Their niceness is not naivete. It is deliberate, a chosen stance born out of moral conviction and emotional wisdom. But when that kindness is misunderstood as weakness, when their boundaries are trampled or their principles betrayed, something primal awakens within them. INFJs are motivated by harmony. They crave peace not because they are timid, but because their sensitivity to emotional energy makes chaos feel unbearable. Their intuition allows them to sense dissonance long before it becomes visible. This is why they often step in as mediators, healers, or quiet supporters, working behind the scenes to restore balance. Their niceness comes from genuine compassion. They see potential in everyone and want to bring out the best in people. They forgive easily, sometimes too easily, because they understand the pain that drives human flaws. They listen when others won't. They comfort when others mock, and they believe in redemption when others turn away. This radiant kindness makes them deeply magnetic. People feel safe around INFJs, as though their presence itself offers sanctuary. But this sanctuary has its limits. The same empathy that makes INFJs healers also makes them see through lies, manipulation, and hypocrisy. When someone tries to exploit their kindness, the INFJ doesn't react immediately. They observe. They watch patterns, connect motives, and quietly gather emotional evidence. To the offender, it may seem like the INFJ hasn't noticed, but they have. Every microexpression, every tone shift, every subtle betrayal is logged and analyzed. Their mind becomes a silent courtroom, their intuition the judge. And once their inner verdict is reached, it is final. The INFJ's quiet withdrawal, their icy calm, or their cutting silence is not passive aggression. It's a calculated response. By the time they decide to walk away or confront, the emotional connection has already been severed internally. The kindness that once flowed freely is replaced with detachment, as cold as glass. If you want to truly understand yourself and unlock your full potential as an INFJ, check out the INFJ Mastery course today. The link is in the description of this video. What makes INFJs dangerous is not aggression, but precision. When pushed to the edge, they don't explode like extroverted personalities might. They implode into stillness. This unnerves people because their anger is intellectual and spiritual, not impulsive. An INFJ will not attack you out of spite. They will dismantle your illusions, expose your weaknesses, and remove themselves from your world without a trace of regret. They do not destroy recklessly. They destroy with purpose. When wronged deeply, they know exactly where to strike, not physically or emotionally in a petty sense, but in a way that teaches a permanent lesson. It's not vengeance, it's correction. It's justice administered with an almost divine calm. They become mirror-like, reflecting the truth of other people's actions so powerfully that it often leaves the other person unsettled and exposed. Their compassion is immense, but so is their sense of justice. They will bend over backward to help those in pain, but they will not allow someone to inflict suffering without consequence. They can read the hearts of people, and this gift can be both a blessing and a weapon. When they see light in you, they nurture it like a sacred flame. When they see darkness that refuses to change, they cut it out without hesitation. They know that some people can only learn through the mirror of loss, through the absence of the INFJ's warmth they once took for granted. The danger lies not in their hands, but in their awareness, their ability to see who you are beneath what you pretend to be. Their duality is also internal. INFJs often battle their own darkness, the shadow that forms from years of repressing anger and absorbing other people's pain. They despise conflict, yet life often places them in positions where they must confront it. Their desire for peace can make them swallow their emotions until they reach a breaking point, and when they finally release it, the force can shock even them. The danger they pose to others is often mirrored by the danger they pose to themselves. Overgiving, overthinking, overfeeling. They will defend others fiercely, but neglect their own needs until their spirit cracks under pressure. The same empathy that heals others can corrode them from within, if not balanced by boundaries. An INFJ's niceness is a refined form of power. It is controlled, intentional, and moral. They choose kindness because they understand what cruelty does to the human soul. They offer forgiveness because they know bitterness poisons the heart. Yet they will not tolerate prolonged disrespect or deceit. They are not martyrs. They are guardians of emotional truth. Their calmness in confrontation is unsettling because it comes from deep clarity. They've already made peace with the outcome long before the conversation begins. When they finally decide to leave a toxic situation, it is not impulsive. It is the culmination of silent analysis, emotional endurance, and spiritual resolve. And once they walk away, they never look back. To love an INFJ is to experience both serenity and intensity. They will hold you with tenderness and challenge you with truth. They will nurture your growth, but expect emotional honesty in return. They are the calm before the storm and, if wronged, the storm itself. They are nice, profoundly so, but they are also dangerous in the way truth is dangerous to lies. Their duality is not contradiction but completeness. They are both light and shadow, compassion and consequence. To misunderstand their kindness as weakness is to awaken the side of them that remembers that even angels carry swords. INFJs know how fragile the human psyche can be. Yet what makes them dangerous is their ability to turn that understanding into leverage when circumstances demand it. An INFJ does not need to raise their voice or issue threats. Their silence, when deliberate, can communicate more than words ever could. When an INFJ withdraws emotionally, it sends a message that resonates deeper than confrontation. A message that says, I have seen everything, and I have decided you are no longer worth my energy. This quiet withdrawal is devastating because the connection they once offered was rare and deeply authentic. Once it's gone, it leaves an emptiness that cannot easily be replaced. INFJs are dreamers who see life through layers of symbolism and meaning. They often view every relationship, every experience, as part of a larger story about growth, redemption, and purpose. This makes their love, friendship, or mentorship intense and transformative. But if that sacred narrative is corrupted, if someone brings deceit, exploitation, or cruelty into their story, the INFJ transforms. The dreamer becomes the judge. The visionary becomes the enforcer of truth. Their inner world, once a sanctuary, becomes a crucible where falsehoods are burned away. It's not that they stop caring. It's that they refuse to let darkness write the final chapter. INFJs have a rare capacity to feel deeply while maintaining composure. But this composure should never be mistaken for passivity. When pushed, they are capable of emotional alchemy, transmuting their pain into wisdom and their anger into strategy. Rather than lashing out, they analyze patterns, reflect on motives, and return with clarity that cuts sharper than any insult could. Their danger lies in their restraint. Most people reveal their emotions impulsively, exposing their weaknesses. INFJs, on the other hand, play a long game. They let others underestimate them, observe quietly, and then act with precision when the time is right. This ability to wait, to observe without reacting, makes them formidable opponents in any conflict of will or mind. For an INFJ, trust is sacred, not easily given, but deeply rooted once established. When that trust is broken, something irreversible occurs within them. They don't simply move on. They purge. They reconstruct their emotional architecture to ensure that the same pain will never find its way in again. What outsiders call coldness is actually self-preservation, the INFJ's way of rebuilding their peace after it has been violated. They learn from every wound, and each scar becomes part of a complex emotional armor. The next time someone tries to manipulate them, they'll recognize the signs immediately. They evolve quietly, but permanently. And that evolution makes them unpredictable, because what once worked against them will never work again. When they interact with people, They subconsciously reflect back emotional states, revealing truths others try to hide. This mirroring makes people feel seen, or if they're dishonest, deeply uncomfortable. It's one of the reasons INFJs are often described as both healing and intimidating. When someone stands before an INFJ, it's like standing in front of a mirror that doesn't just show your reflection, but your motives, fears, and contradictions. Their niceness makes you relax. Their insight makes you vulnerable. If you have pure intentions, their gaze feels like light. But if you're hiding darkness, it feels like exposure. That ability to see the truth in people and decide silently what to do with it is what makes them dangerous without ever lifting a finger. They are idealists, yes, but strategic idealists. People who know that lofty visions mean nothing without practical steps. When cornered or challenged, they can switch from empathetic listener to tactical thinker in seconds. They can anticipate emotional moves, predict outcomes, and use language in ways that disarm or enlighten. Their words carry weight because they come from both logic and intuition, a combination that feels almost surgical. In a debate or emotional confrontation, INFJs don't aim to wound, they aim to expose. And when they do, they often do it so elegantly that others don't realize the depth of the incision until much later. Every betrayal, every disillusionment, sharpens their intuition and deepens their understanding of human nature. Over time, their niceness evolves into something quieter but more powerful, a kind of controlled kindness, where compassion is given wisely and energy is guarded fiercely. They become more selective about who they let close, not out of cynicism, but out of hard-earned discernment. They are capable of shutting doors permanently, and doing so with absolute inner peace. To those who misunderstand them, this looks heartless. But to the INFJ, it's liberation, the reclaiming of emotional sovereignty. They embody light, but they have walked through darkness. They understand both sides so intimately that they can wield either when the situation demands it. Their niceness disarms, their insight transforms, and their boundaries protect. But when all three merge, when empathy meets clarity and conviction, they become something truly formidable, a force of moral intelligence that can heal, guide, or destroy, depending on what the moment requires. The INFJ kindness is intentional, not automatic. They choose softness the same way a warrior chooses when to sheath a blade. This decision is not out of fear or fragility, but out of strength, the kind of strength that comes from knowing what one is capable of and consciously choosing restraint. The danger begins when people mistake that restraint for incapacity. For an INFJ, the moment someone interprets their gentleness as weakness, the dynamic changes forever. They shift from nurturing to calculating, from empathy to evaluation, and from healing to protection. Their energy, once open and generous, becomes selective and discerning. When someone deeply hurts them, the pain doesn't merely fade, it metamorphoses. They take that pain, analyze it, understand it, and then integrate it into their emotional intelligence. Every heartbreak makes them wiser. Every disappointment makes their intuition sharper. Every betrayal refines their standards. This quiet process of alchemy turns their suffering into a kind of spiritual armor. They emerge from the ashes softer in compassion, but harder in discernment, capable of kindness without gullibility, love without dependency, and forgiveness without naivety. That balance between open heart and guarded mind is where their real power resides. They can detach even while appearing emotionally engaged. INFJs can mirror connection so convincingly that even when they've emotionally checked out, most people don't notice until it's too late. This subtle withdrawal often happens after a breaking point, a moment of clarity when they realize a relationship or situation no longer aligns with their values. From the outside, they still seem kind, cooperative, and present, but internally they've already begun to leave. They start planning their exit not out of vengeance, but from a deep instinct to preserve their peace. When they finally walk away, they do so without theatrics. One day you simply realize they're gone. Not physically at first, but energetically. Their silence carries finality. They have a natural instinct for when to act, and when to wait, when to speak, and when to stay silent. This patience makes them lethal in emotional or intellectual confrontations. While others rush to defend or explain, the INFJ listens, quietly observing, collecting data. Their calm presence during conflict often unnerves aggressors because it feels like staring into an emotional mirror that reveals every false move. When they do respond, their words are few but devastatingly precise, stripping away illusions and exposing truths that others desperately try to hide. That's why even people who have wronged them often end up respecting or fearing them. Because the INFJ doesn't just win arguments, they redefine the ground on which those arguments stand. An INFJ who has reached a point of inner balance is almost impossible to manipulate. Emotional blackmail, guilt-tripping, or drama has no power over them because they can see through the performance. They know when someone's apology is genuine and when it's a tactic. They sense when affection is sincere and when it's transactional. And they respond not emotionally, but spiritually, by withdrawing their presence and letting the universe do the correction. Their punishment is their absence. Their silence is the echo that forces others to confront themselves. They fight silent wars within. Their perfectionism, empathy, and longing for meaning can sometimes turn inward, creating an internal battlefield of guilt and idealism. They demand purity of motive from themselves in a world where everything is compromised. This self-conflict can make them implode emotionally, appearing serene outside while storms rage inside. But even in their inner chaos, they find transformation. They use solitude as a forge to rebuild themselves again and again, emerging each time with clearer vision and stronger purpose. That quiet rebirth is part of what makes them so unpredictable. The older they get, the more they learn to balance softness with discernment, passion with patience, love with distance. They become protectors of peace, both their own and others. Yet their danger remains, not the kind that destroys recklessly, but the kind that dismantles illusions, liberates truth, and challenges everything false. They are dangerous because they can love you deeply while being fully prepared to let you go if you cross the line. They are dangerous because they have learned that walking away is sometimes the most powerful form of self-respect. Once an INFJ learns that they can find fulfillment without external validation, they become untouchable. The world can no longer bribe them with approval or threaten them with rejection. Their kindness remains, but it is now sovereign, ruled by wisdom, not need. They will still help, still heal, still give, but always by choice, never by compulsion. And in that quiet autonomy, their duality reaches its full expression, a soul that embodies both compassion and consequence, light and shadow. If you want to truly understand yourself and unlock your full potential as an INFJ, check out the INFJ Mastery Course today. The link is in the description of this video.